Sunday morning sun, keep on shining. Oh yeah.
Sunny Sunday morning.
You gotta love that song. It's really catchy.
Very catchy. All right, so we're going to talk about the games last week, and then we're going to preview next week's games. Let's get right into it this week because we had some good games. We had some bad games, so let's get through some of the bad ones. All right, Lewis and Parker. Did anybody care about this game? No. Lewis won. Pretty big. Who cares? Not a big deal. It's Lewis.
It's really, this season makes no sense at this point. You have Parker, who, generally always sucks, and you also have Lewis, who, again, generally always sucks. But this ended up being the number one and the number two highest scoring teams in week 3. And it really came down to Lewis and who is it? It's not Cam Newton for once. It's, I believe this is a T. Coleman. Who does he play for? Nobody knows, exactly. But no, this guy got Lewis 26.9 points.
26.9. How did Lewis have the foresight to see him?
I think he just threw a dart at a dartboard and it just landed on T. Coleman.
T. Coleman.
Parker, when asked how Lewis's team fared this week, he responded with, "I don't know what I'm doing." Congrats, Parker. You lost to that.
Lewis, for getting the high score of the week, we will like to give you an A, as in IPA, as in Goose Island IPA, our beer of the week. This coming from you, from Idaho. We recommend it. It's nice.
Parker, you'll love it. You'll help wash away that sour taste of defeat.
Of nice, we'll say John / Nicole. But really, I think it was John this week.
Surprisingly, I believe John.
Before we get into it, I would like to say he won by less than a point. John?
Granted, he did only win by a point. But John, this may be John's first win in 2 years. It came down to Monday night. John had Mark Ingram, Joey had Devontae Freeman, and John just won out. And even with him starting an injured player, he still won. Congrats, John.
There you go. First fantasy football win. That's always
John.
nice. It took Max 6 years, I think, to get it.
Nicole will be proud.
Yeah. Next game I want to talk about is Mac and Trent. Trent was in the middle of moving. Still put up some good points in 103. Mac did win at 114.
He did. And Battle of Bye Weeks actually turned out to be a pretty good match overall. Mac won because of big gains by Aaron Rodgers, Sproles, and T.Y. Hilton. Trent lost because he plays Andrew Luck.
There it is.
What am I telling y'all?
Yep, you did it last year.
Yeah.
You lost and played Andrew Luck. Now Trent's doing it. Next game, Allen and Wally. Allen just stomped him 130 to 101. Nobody was surprised. Wally is real bad this year.
Yeah, really the deciding factor of the game was both teams' quarterbacks. Allen basically won just because Stafford proceeded to throw it 50, 60 times in the Packers game, because he was losing by like 27 points at one point. And then Wally decided Mariota was a good QB. So, hey, Wally, how's that working out for you?
I think he started the wrong QB all 3 games.
Yeah.
Speaking of wrong all 3 games, Frank and you ended up being a lot different than people expected. You stomped him 120 to 96. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I only scored 120 points.
You were projected 157 at one point.
I was projected 157 at one point, thanks to a Marvin Jones who had 36.5 points, which consisted of 205 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. Also, fuck you, Frank, for not coming to Auburn and telling us.
Frank. Fuck you, Frank. All right. Before we get to this last pick, we would like to have our sponsor say a few words. Our sponsor of the week is Bass Pro Shops,
Woo!
where you get all your fishing needs. Thank you, Bass Pro Shop. All right, speaking of fish, Thomas was in this last game, and he has an affinity for large fish, i.e. whales, which aren't really fish. Versus me, yeah, he won. Drew Brees put up 30. What can you do? Definitely,
Breeze has saved him.
yeah, definitely started the wrong person. Should have put in Demaryius Thomas. Should have known. He had a couple bad weeks to begin with, so I didn't want to start him. And he went off for 16. Could have won. It's okay. Don't feel bad. 0-3 start. Not great, but I do think my team can turn it around.
Yeah, really, this was another matchup that Thomas won just because the person he faced had a bad week. I mean, he had his second lowest score of this week, so I would really, congratulate you, Thomas. Just, hey, that was some sheer luck that you just had. Unfortunately, Josh's D also only scored a -4. Yeah.
Yep.
But
That's what happens when you, I guess, have to cheer for the Steelers, right, Mac? All right, well, I guess who else could say it better themselves but Thomas? He has a few words to say on the matter, so let's take it to Thomas.
Oh, hello, losers. I didn't see y'all down there. It's lonely up here at the top, being the only undefeated team left. I guess I have had an easy schedule. I've got a Dick Slap each person up in Nashville. Just Josh, Lewis, and Phykai. You may wonder, how am I undefeated when I have the 8th most points in the league? I mean, is it strength of schedule? I think it's Harambe looking out for me. I was the first person to dedicate my team for him, and I've been dicks out for Harambe ever since. You want to see how dicks out I am?
Ooh, I told Thomas to send me a 2-minute video. The last minute and a half of that I had to edit out because it was just him flapping his dick and when he rolled his window down.
yeah, believe me, folks, you don't want to see that.
You don't. So we'll get right into next week's games. We'll start off me versus Parker. This is going to be fun. We're both 0-3. I'm projected 15 more than him, so I'm excited for that. I think it'll be a good matchup.
I would like to point out this is the battle of the 0-3s. Somebody after this matchup is going to be 0-4. Who would be left standing? Good thing for you is that Jordy Nelson is on his bye week.
All right.
Which has basically been carrying Parker's team this entire season.
That is good. And that's why he's projected 77 because of Jordy Nelson. All right. Thomas coming off 3-0 is going to have to get through John to go 4-0.
Can John actually pick up his second win in 2 seasons?
Good luck to you, John.
But I've been picking against Thomas for the first 3 weeks. Okay. Picking Thomas by 50 points. You go, Thomas.
Picking Thomas.
Picking
you
Thomas.
heard it here first, folks. Phykai is picking Thomas. All right. Next, we are going to talk about Mac versus Allen. Mac's projected 90, Allen 100.
Really, only one thing to say about this game. Congrats, Allen, on your win. Rogers is on his bye week. There you go.
You got a nice one because that has been Mac's team. So, next we're going to talk about Joey and Trent. And next we're going to talk about Lewis and Frank. Lewis is actually projected more than Frank by 4 points. How do you think this is going to go down?
Honestly, I don't know because a lot of Lewis's players last week just had their random going off game all in a row with each other. So, can he continue this hot streak? Maybe. Is he going to get more than maybe 30 wins this season? Probably not, but. And also, fuck you, Frank.
Fuck you, Frank. You heard it here first. Fuck you, Frank. Last, the most important game of the week.
Yes.
In my opinion,
Yes.
Wally versus Eric. This is a fun one. It's always a fun one because Wally always stomps you. This year, I don't think he's going to. I think you are going to Tennessee his Florida. He's beat you every year,
Yeah.
and now I think it's your time. So
He did finally get off the Marcus Mariota train. He is now starting I'm going to guess much better, Tyrod Taylor,
Yeah.
the Buffalo Bills QB. He is exactly 3 spots ahead of Marcus Mariota in the QB rankings.
You know what they
He
say
is
about those Buffalo quarterbacks.
always good. The 21st best QB so far this year. Now, also, I would like to point out one last thing. I would like to thank Tommy for that trade last week. LeGarrette Blount is now the 2nd best running back in the league. Enjoy Will Fuller. I'm sure he'll deliver you an excellent season.
All right, and as always, fuck you, hail Zumba.
I don't always chug Dons, but when I do, I prefer a Bud Light Margarita.